In this session, we're going to talk about rational inequalities. Unlike rational equations where you just cross multiply and you find the answer just using simple, arithmetic, rational inequalities are a little bit different. I must make mention that you are not allowed to cross multiply. Let's say you're given an example of 1. You're given to solve 1 over x plus 1. This is greater than 2 over 3 minus x. So now what are you going to have? This is what we call our inequality in this case. Then for rational inequalities, this one you're going to move it to the other side. Okay, so let's just do that. So you have 1 over x plus 1. When it crosses the other side, it becomes a negative. So negative 2 over 3 minus x. Okay, this is less than 0 is greater than 0. So what are you now going to have? So this will multiply by your negative 2, then this will multiply by your 1. Okay, so let's start with 2 multiplied by x plus 1. Okay, mind you, this is negative 2. So what are you going to have? Negative 2 multiplied by x, that would be negative 2x. Negative 2 multiplied by positive 1, you have a negative 2. On the other side, you're going to have 1 multiplied by that, so that just be the same expression, 3 minus x. So you've measured on top. Then the common denominator of this will just be the same expressions which are down. Okay, so 3 minus x, like that. Okay, now let's solve on top. What are we going to have? Negative 2x and negative x can add because they are like terms, so you have a negative 3x. Negative 2 plus 3, that just gives us a 1. Okay, so this is positive 1. Everything divided by the whole expression. Let me just write it here. Let me say here you have negative 3x plus 1 over, so you have x plus 1 and 3 minus x. Okay, so this is our answer. So now what are we going to do? Let's rub here. Now that we've reached here, what you're supposed to do is from this point you have to equate everything to 0. Okay, so you have to equate what is on top, negative 3 negative 3x plus 1, this should be equals to 0. Your x plus 1, this should be equals to 0. Your 3 minus x should also be equals to 0. Let's find the values of x. So when we do this, our v1 is equals to, when I take the other side, this negative 3x to the other side, just be 3x. Okay, for me to remain with my x, I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides. Okay, so our x in this case on this side, we'll have our x is equals to 1 over 3. Then on the other side, this one x is equals to negative 1. This one it will be x is equals to 3, like that. Okay, so these are our values. We're saying x is equals to, the smallest value of x that we have is negative 1. X is equals to, the one that follows is 1 over 3. X is equals to, the one that follows is 3. Okay, let's just write them down there. Then allow me to rub here. Okay, now that we have these ones, we come up with our solution set table. So let's just draw those. So because there are 3, I'm going to start first drawing 3 lines. Okay, I'll draw like that. This is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one. Okay, then let's say we've got that, we've got that, with that. One, two, three. Okay, let me just extend this a bit to this, to that, and that. Okay, so now what are we now going to do? So the lowest x value that we have, in this case, let's first write the equations. The first equation is negative 3x plus 1, or you can just say, you know, it's just 1 minus 3x. Okay, so 1 minus 3x, the first one. The second one is x plus 1, then the other one is 3 minus x. Okay, now the values of x, we said this, the smallest one you can have is negative 1, then we have 1 over 3 here, then we have 3 here. Okay, now the numbers that we've put down in the x, these ones, they are called the demarcations of signs. Okay, they are the ones that determine which region or the sign that you're going to have. Okay, then this line is just like the number line. Okay, it's just like the number line. Okay, then these are the equations. These are the equations. But now these equations, you're able to see that from this expression, these equations are multiplying and dividing. Okay, multiplying and dividing. Okay, so on top here we have, let's say we have a quotient. Okay, the quotient or the product. Okay, so now let's now assign as values to these. Let's demarcate now the signs. So the first one is negative 1. Which equation gave us negative 1? Okay, negative 1, it came from x plus 1. Okay, in x plus 1, if we get any number that is less, okay, let's say we get any number that is greater than negative 1, let's say a 2. If we put a 2 here, it will be 2 plus 1, so we're going to get positive numbers. So in this region, for this one, we're going to have positive numbers. So when you get numbers which are greater than 1, we're going to have positive numbers for this one. But let's say if we get any number that is less than negative 1, let's say if we get a negative 5 plus 1, it will give us a negative number. So here, this would be negative. Okay, then let's come to this one. Okay, 1 over 3. Which equation gave us 1 over 3? The equation that gave us 1 over 3 is the equation on top. Yeah, it's the equation on top. Now, if we get any number that is greater than 1 over 3, let's say we get a 5. Okay, or even a 1 over or between 1 over 3 and 3. Let's say negative 3 x plus 1. If we get any number that is greater than that, if you say negative 3, let's say we pick a number like 2 plus 1, this will give us let's say negative 6 plus 1. This will give us a negative number. But if we get a number that is greater than 3, if we say negative 3 multiplied by 3, okay, plus 1, this will also give us a negative number. Okay, let's try to get any number that is less than half or quarters or 1 over 3. Let's say between negative 1 and 1 over 3. Okay, let's say we get a number like because our equation is negative 3, so let me just get the one that is just there. 1 minus 3x is just the same. So what are we going to have? If we say 1 minus, we get a number between negative 1 and 1 over 3. So that will be, let's say, which number can we get? Let's say a 0, right? If we put a 0 there, we just have 1 minus 0, which will just be a positive. So this will be a positive. So we realize that all the numbers that will be less than that will be positive. Now let's come to 3. Let's come to 3, this 3, okay? So which equation gave us 3? It's the one that is on top, okay? 3 minus 1. Now for 3 minus 1, if we get any number that is greater than 3, let's say 3 minus let's say 5, okay? 3 minus 5 will give us a negative number. So here we'll have a negative answer. Then if we get any number that is less than, if we get any number less than, let's say we get 3 minus any number less than 3, let's say 2, we'll get a positive number. So you realize that this one will be positive, this one will be positive, and all these ones will be positives, like that, okay? Now let's now find the quotient or the multiplication of these signs. So let's start with the other part. So if we say a negative multiplied by a positive multiplied by a negative multiplied by a positive, what are we going to have? We're going to have a negative, okay? Then if we multiply a positive, and a positive, what are you going to have? Whether you divide them or it's just the same, or you multiply them, it will just be a positive, right? Then a negative multiplied by a positive and a positive, what are you going to have? You're just going to have a negative, okay? A negative, like that. Then if you multiply a negative multiplied by a negative multiplied by a negative multiplied by a positive multiplied by a negative, what are you going to have? You're just going to have a positive, okay? So in this case now, for this inequality, we want numbers that are greater than 0. Look at the expression, greater than, because when we took this one, it became, so we want numbers that are greater than 0, okay? So it means we only want positive numbers or positive values. So because we want positive values, our solution set, we're just getting positive values. Now because it's just greater than, so it means we're not shading, okay? So we're just getting positive numbers from here to here, okay? This will be our first one, from here going in this direction, okay? So now what are we now going to have? So therefore our solution set, in this case, our solution set okay, let me just say SS. Our solution set in this case will be want of values, from -1. -1 is not included, so we'll put an open there. 2, 1/3. 1/3 is also not included. Union will cross and we'll go to 3, but now 3 is also not included, and you're able to see that this one is going to positive infinity. So we're going to infinity, like that. So this is our solution set for this problem, okay? Now let's solve another one. Let's say you're given to solve 1 plus x over 1 minus x. Let's say this one now is greater than or equal to 2 minus x over 2 plus x. So what are you going to have again do? You're going to move your equation to the other side, okay? To the other side. Okay, now when the equation move, when these ones move to the other side, you know that they will change signs, right? So 1 plus x over 1 minus x, this, your 2 in this case will change to a positive, and when it crosses, it becomes a negative. Your negative x, it becomes a positive, okay? These are the ones that will change, so you have to note that. So you have a negative 2 and a plus x. The numerator I can just say changes, okay, 2 plus 1 like that. Okay, this is greater than or equal to 0. Don't make a mistake on that one. Make sure that you just do that one correctly. Okay, now we're going to merge these fractions and make them into a single fraction like we did. You're going to multiply this multiplied by that, okay, you get your answer. Then you multiply this multiplied by that and you get your answer. Okay, so let's start with this multiplied by that. Okay, so what are we going to have when we solve that? Negative 2 multiplied by that. Okay, so what will be our expression? So we have a scenario where we're saying okay, let's start with this one first and we'll come to that other one first. So 1 plus x, this is multiplying by 2 plus 1. Okay, then on the other side we've got, you know, let's say plus, we've got negative 2 plus x, this is multiplied by 1 minus x. Okay, this should be greater than or equal to 0. Then the whole expression, being divided by 1 minus x, okay, 2 plus 1. So now what are we going to have? Okay, when we multiply 1 multiplied by everything, 1 multiplied by everything in the brackets is just that, so we just remain with 2 plus 1. Okay, then we come to x. When we multiply with x with everything that is in the bracket, what are we going to have? You have 2x plus x. Okay, then we come to the other side. You have negative 2 multiplied by everything that is in the bracket, so you have negative 2, okay, plus 2x plus 2, actually plus 2x, yeah, plus 2x. Then you come now to, when you multiply x by everything that is in the bracket, you have x minus x squared. Okay, minus x squared. Okay, where did we, is there any expression that we've missed? Okay, so this is 2 plus okay, this is 2 plus x, this is 2 plus x, this is supposed to be 2 plus x. Okay, we've seen where I've made a mistake now. Okay, so what are we going to have now? We're going to, when we multiplied 1 by everything in the brackets, so this was supposed to be 2 plus x. Okay, then when we multiply x by everything in the brackets, so we're supposed to have 2x, which is that. Then x multiplied by the x was supposed to have an x squared here. Okay, this whole expression divided by this should be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so now what are we going to have? We're going to cancel those ones which are common, which would divide, like this x squared and the x squared will cancel. Okay, which other one will cancel? Your 2 and your 2 and your positive 2 and your negative 2 will cancel as well, or they will divide like that. Yeah, they will subtract like that. Then which other expression are you going to have? I think that those are the ones. So now what are we remaining with? We are remaining with x plus 2 x plus 2x plus x. Okay, this should be greater than or equal to 0. Everything should be divided by 1 minus x 2 plus 1, like that. Okay, just to make it okay, nice, like that. Okay, hope you've noticed the change in the question. I think that's what will make it nice, like that. Okay, now when we solve, what are we going to have on top? We haven't finished solving the top. X plus 2x plus 2x plus x. Okay, that is just about like 6x. Okay, good. Then you have 1 minus x 2 plus 1. This should be greater than or equal to 0, like that. So this is the expression that we have. So at this point we equate everything to 0, okay, to find our x values. So we'll say 6x should be equals to 0, 1 minus x should be equals to 0. Okay, let's solve this one. So so x is equals to 0 in this case. Then the other one is x is equals to 1. Then we've got 2 plus 1 is equals to 0. So this 2 plus x, actually. Why am I missing this one? 2 plus x. This is 2 plus x, okay? 2 plus x in this case. So your x in this case will just be a negative 2. Okay, so our x values, we have from the smallest one, we've got x minus 2. X is also equals to 0. X is also equals to 1. Okay, so these are the values that we have for x. Now let's show using our expression. Okay, so we'll draw our special, I'll call it our special number line. Okay, just for 3 values, like that. Let's say, okay, let's say like that. Okay, just like that. Then what are we going to now have? So let me put our equations here. The first equation that we have was 6x. Then the other one was 1 minus x. Then the other one was 2 plus 2 plus x. 2 plus x, like that. Then from the smallest, the values of x that we have, you know, we have a negative 2, we have a 0 and a 1, just as they showed down, like that. Okay, now what are we going to have? Now which equation gave us which equation gave us is a negative 2? It's the one that is on top. 2 plus x. Okay, 2 plus x, if we choose any number that is greater than negative 2 and replace it in that equation, let's say 0. So you have 2 plus 0, right? So that will just give you, you know, a positive number. Okay, so you realize that all the numbers in this region, from here they'll give you a positive. This one will be positive, this one will be a positive, this one will be a positive. Okay, now let's try any number that is less than negative 2. If you say 2 minus, let's say any number of that is just less than negative 2. Let's say negative no, that is 2 plus. Let's say negative 3. Okay, so it will just give you a negative 1, which is a negative number. So here, from here going this side, you have a negative numbers. Okay, so okay, that's what we have there. Okay, now which equation gave us 0? The equation that gave us 0 was 6x. Okay, so what are we going to have if we solve that? 6x. Okay, let's come at 0, right? The equation that gave us that is that. So let's solve that. So if we get any number that is greater than 0 and we replace it there, you're going to get a positive number, right? So you have positive going this side. But if we get any number less than 0, let's say -1, it will just give you a negative number. So these ones going this side, you have negative numbers. Then let's come to, for 1. The equation that gave us 1 was 1 minus x. So what are we going to have? If we get any number that is greater than 1, we say 1 minus any number that is greater than 1, let's say 2. You get a negative number, right? So this will give us a negative number. But now let's say you want any number that is greater than, that is less than 1. Okay, less than 1, let's say you have let's say okay, 1 minus, let's say just a 0 itself, you get a positive number. You're able to see, right? So all these others, they'll give you positive numbers for 1. Okay, so you have a positive here, you have a positive, you have a positive. Okay, now let's solve these ones. What are we now going to have if we find the product or the quotient? Because you saw that all these other our equations, our factors were multiplying and dividing. Okay, so let me say this is just the quotient or the product. So let's start with the top part. If we multiply negative multiplied by positive multiplied by negative, okay, what are you going to have? You just have a positive here. If we multiply negative multiplied by positive multiplied by positive, what are you going to have? You just have a negative. If you multiply positive positive positive, what are you going to have? You're going to have a positive. If you multiply a positive, a negative, and a positive, what are you going to have? You have a negative. Okay, now where are we going to shade? Our fraction was something like 1 over plus x, 1 minus x. When you took the other inequality to the other side, became -2 plus x over 2 plus x. This is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, greater than or equal to 0. Then our final was something like 6x over 1 minus x. Is it 2 plus x, like that? So those are our finals. But now these factors, if you look at them in the denominator, you're not supposed to have a 0. You know that, okay? So it means want all numbers that are greater than or equal to 0. Yes, we can put 0 there. If you put 0 there, probably there are chances that you get a number, but there are those values that will give you a 0 in the denominator. You exclude such values because they will make the fraction to be undefined. Okay, so the solution set from this case, we want values that will not make the function undefined. So want only positive values. Okay, in this case, which numbers are we going to get? If we put a 1 here, will give us 0, right? And 0 multiplied by everything, it will make the fraction defined. So we don't want this one. If we put a negative 2 here, negative 2 plus or 2 minus 2 just give, it will also give us a 0, right? Which will make the fraction to be undefined. So we don't want these two values. So what are we now going to have? So we want all the values, but unless those ones, we don't want those ones. So what are we going to have? We don't want 2, want all the values, but we don't want 2. Okay, going this side, we're going this side. Then the other part is, okay, we want zeros, we want 0, but we just don't want 1, because we said 1 will make also the fraction to be undefined. Therefore our solution set in this case will be want all values from negative infinity to negative 2 will not be included, union from you are going to what 0 is included, 0 to 1. Okay, 1 is not included as well. So those that will be our solution set. Let's solve another one. Let's say you're given to solve 3 over x plus, let's say 3, this is less than, okay, let's at least change it some, x minus 1. What are we going to have? Just with our same scenario, so you're going to have this plus 3 okay. When the other inequality crosses, so just be a negative x minus 1, this should be less than 0. Okay, so again you merge the fractions, so you have x plus 3, x minus 1, then like we earlier did, okay, so you are multiplying, you know, your negative 2 multiplied by that. Okay, so let's just do that. So you have negative 2x minus 6. Okay, then the next thing that you're supposed to do is this one multiplied by that. Okay, so what are you going to have? You have positive 3x minus 3. Okay, this should be you know, less than 0, like that. So when we solve on top, what do we have? We've got a negative 2x plus a 3x. Negative 2x plus a 3x, that will just give us an x, so x. Then we've got negative 6 and a negative 3. What are we going to have? A negative 9. This whole expression is being divided by x plus 3. Okay, x minus 1. This should be less than 0, like that. So now what do? We have to equate all our inequalities to be equals to 0. So let's just do that. We have got x minus 9. This should be equals to 0. So in this case our x will just be equals to 9. Okay, then x plus 3 is equals to 0. In this case our x will just be equals to a negative 3. X minus 1 should be equals to 0. In this case our x will just be equals to a 1, like that. Okay, so now let's come up with our solution set, our table, you know, of values, like that. Let's wrap this part. Given this part, okay, so let's say let's just draw it like that. Okay, this is big. Okay, since we've got 3 values, let's just put 3 lines. Okay, like that, like that, like that. Okay, let's also put another one like that. Okay, so what are we going to have? Our equations, we had x minus 9. Another equation that we have was x plus 3. The other equation that we had is x minus 1. Okay, then the values that we have, the smallest value of x that we had is what? We had negative 3. Then what followed was 1. Then the other one is 9 down there, as we've written them down there. Okay, so now what will be our values? So let's start with which value gave us negative 3. It is this equation, okay, or that expression. So what are we now going to have? So if we get any number that is greater than negative 3 and we replace it there, let's say x, this is x plus 3. If we get any number that is greater than negative 3, let's say even just a 2, it will get 2 plus 3, that would be a positive number, right? So all these other ones, all these ones will give us positive values. Okay, these ones will give us a positive values. But if you get any number that is less than negative 3, let's say negative 5 plus 3, to give you negative 2, which is a negative number. So this will be a positive. No, it will be a negative actually. Yeah, negative like that. Then which number gave us a 1? Okay, you realize that it's that equation there. So what are we going to have? If we get any number x minus 1, right? If we get any number that is greater than 1, let's say 2. If we say 2 minus 1, that would be a positive, right? So all numbers greater than 1 will give us positive numbers. But if we get any number that is less than 1, let's say 0. If we say 0 minus 1, this will give us a negative number. So this will give us a negative, and this one also give us a negative. Okay, let's try another. Let's try the last one. The last one is we have this 9. Which equation gave us 9? It was that. Okay, so what are we going to have? So we've got x minus 9. If we get any number that is greater than 9, let's say 10. 10 minus 9 will just give us a positive number. Okay, then let's get numbers which are less than 9. Let's say 8. If you say 8 minus 9, you're just going to get a negative 1, which is a negative number. So it will give you negative numbers. So everything this side will be negative like that. Okay, so what now do? You have to find the quotient. These are dividing and multiplying, or the quotient or the product. Okay, so now let's do that. So what are we now going to have? If we multiply a negative and the negative, that will give us a positive. A positive multiplied by a negative, you have a negative here. Okay, then what we're saying, we have a negative there. Then if you multiply a negative and a positive and you multiply by a negative, what are you going to have? You only have a positive here. If you multiply by a negative, multiply by a positive and a positive, what are you going to have? You have a negative. If you multiply positives throughout, you have a positive. Okay, now what will be our solution set? Our inequality is values of x that are less than 0. So want all values that are less than 0. You know that values that are less than 0, those are negative numbers. Okay, so in this case we're just going to where the negatives are, okay, on our diagram. So on this point, because it's just less than, we haven't put any equal to, so we're just getting, will not shade. Okay, so we want this part, the negative part, also this part, but now this part we're going in this direction. Okay, so therefore our solution set our solution set in this case will be equals to want all values from negative infinity to negative 3, but negative 3 we've seen here it's not included, so you put that union. You come to the other side, want all values from 1, okay, 1 is not included, 2 to 9, 9 is also not included, okay. So this will be our solution set. Okay, let's solve the last question. What if you're given to solve an expression 2x minus 6 over x plus 3, this is less than negative x minus 2. Okay, what are you going to have? Okay, like earlier, like the way we've been solving, you're going to have 2x minus 6 over x plus 3. When this crosses the other side, they change the signs, right? Okay, so what are we going to have? You have a positive x, positive 2. Okay, let's just put over 1 just for the sake of good solving like that. Then what I was supposed to do, we're supposed to merge the fractions. Okay, so you know our common denominator will just be x plus 3 like that. Okay, then we're going to do this multiplied by 1. It will just be that same expression, 2x minus 2x minus 6. This multiplied by that, what are we going to get? Okay, let me start with x. Okay, let me just write it to avoid confusion. So I'll just say plus, let's say x plus 3. This is x plus 2. This should be less than 0. When we solve the top part, what are we going to have? Okay, the same expression of 2x minus 6 plus, let's solve this one. So x multiplied by everything in the brackets, what are we going to have? You're going to have x squared plus x multiplied by your 2 there on the other side. What are you going to have? You have plus 2x. Okay, then you come to 3. You come to 3 multiplied by everything that in the bracket, 3 multiplied by x, that will give us a 3x. 3 multiplied by 2, that will give us a 6. This should be less than 0. Everything over x plus 3. Okay, now what are you going to have? Is there anything that we can cancel? Yes, so you can cancel negative 6 and negative 6, so give us a 0. Okay, let's see what we have. So we have an expression. Allow me to write it on top. Let me say we have 2x. Okay, 2x. Okay, 2x and 2x there. Okay, those ones can add. Okay, those ones can add. So we have let's write our x squared because it's alone. So we've got 2x plus 2x plus 3x. Okay, that will just give us a 7x. So plus 7x, everything over x plus 3. Okay, this should be less than 0 like that. Okay, now this is what we have. So what are we now going to do? Okay, allow me to rub here. Okay, so what are we going to have? We'll have we're going to equate all our equations to be equals to 0. Okay, so when we equate our equations to be equals to 0, the first one is x squared plus 7x. Okay, when we equate x squared plus 7x, this is to be equals to 0. So we can factorize the x. So we have x plus 7, this is equals to 0, right? So your x in this case will be equals to 0, or your x plus 7 is equals to 0. So x is equals to negative 7 on the other side. Then when we get the last part, x plus 3 is equals to 0. So x is equals to negative 3, like that. So therefore the values of x, we've got x is equals to 0. Okay, let's just write them in order. The values of x that we have, we've got x, which is equals to negative 7. X is also equals to negative 3. X is also equals to 0. Okay, now let's come up with our magic table. Okay, so drawing the table, we'll have let's say if we draw the table, we have 3 lines. Okay, 3 lines. Let's say this, this, and that. Then we do our equations there. Okay, so let's write our equations. So our equation, one of them was x, okay, which we equated with 0. Then the other one was x plus 7. Then the other equation was x plus 3, like that. Okay, so now the values of x from the smallest to the largest, we have we've got negative 7, we have negative 3, just as they are down there. Okay, now solving, what are we now going to have? Which value gave us a negative 7? It was x plus 7. So if we get x plus 7, if we place any value that is greater than negative 7, let's say negative 5. If you say negative 5 plus 7, that will give us a positive number. Okay, so in this case, all values that are greater than 7 will give us positive numbers. If you get a value that is less than negative 7, let's say negative 8, negative 8 plus 7, that will give us a negative 1, which is a negative number. So we have a negative here. Okay, so we're done with that one. What if we say now which value gave us negative 3? Negative 3 came from x plus 3. Okay, so let's just do that, x plus 3. If you get any value that is greater than negative 3, let's say negative 1. If we say negative 1 plus 3, that will just give us a positive number, right? So in this case, we have positive values going this side. Okay, for uniformity, let me use red. Positive values going this side. Then let's try to get any number that is less than negative 3. So let's say negative 5. Negative 5 plus 3, just it gives us a negative number. So we have a negative here and then a negative this side. Then which value gave us 0? It came from x. Okay, if you get any number that is greater than 0, there will be positive numbers, right? If you get any numbers less than 0, there will be there'll be positive numbers. Greater than 0 numbers that will be less than 0 will be negative, like that. Okay, so now what do? Let's find the quotient. Okay, those ones are dividing and they are multiplying. Okay, so if we multiply 0 or negative multiplied by negative multiplied by negative, what are we going to get? We're going to just have a negative. You know, your negative multiply your positive multiplied by your negative. What are you going to have? You're going to have a positive. Your negative multiplied by your two positives, what are you going to have? You only have a negative. Your positives throughout, they'll give you a positive. Okay, so now what will be our solution set? We're saying this should be less than 0. Okay, so it means you want negative numbers. Now because they are less than, they are not equal to, so they will not be included. So you're going this side in the negative direction, you're also going from here to here. Okay, only the negative ones. So therefore our solution set for this problem will be, our SS for this problem will be, you want all the values from negative infinity to 7. 7 is not included. Okay, union, and you want all the values from union. Negative 3 is not included as well. Okay, good. And now you're going to positive you're going to 0 actually, so you're ending at 0. Now 0 is also not included. You only want the negative numbers. So this would be our solution set. Thank you. See you in the next session.